guys, and welcome back to another video on my channel. I know it's been a bit again. I actually filmed a video directly to upload after the last video that I uploaded, but it just wasn't it. I don't know, I rewatched the video and I was like, this just isn't upload worthy. I couldn't bring myself to upload it because it was just such a terrible video. And then I kept meaning to refilm it, but because that video in itself was so bad, I couldn't find the motivation. And obviously, I haven't been filming, so I'm not really comfortable sitting in front of the camera, and unless I'm sitting in front of the camera, I'm not getting more comfortable sitting in front of the camera, so it's just not coming back. But I do want to start uploading regularly again, so I'm going to work on filming as much as possible, as much as I can, to get these videos out for you guys so that I can get comfortable in front of the camera again, so that I can be filming more often again for you guys. But the topic that we are going to be discussing today is a very bold one. When I initially started researching it, I had no intention of doing a YouTube video on it. However, I got so caught up in it that I thought, you know what, I'm already doing all of this research, I might as well combine it all into a video and make a YouTube video about it. But it's not going to be as long and as detailed as I would like, just because this topic is very sensitive. I don't even think that I'm going to be able to put ads on this video, but I do suggest that you guys go and look into this topic on your own if it is something that you're interested in. But before we get into today's video, I do just also need to stress to you that everything in today's video is alleged. So with that all being said, let's get right into today's video. As you can tell by the title of today's video, we are going to be talking about adrenochrome, or adrenochrome. I don't really know how to say it. I find myself saying adrenochrome more often than adrenochrome, so that is just what I'm going to be saying throughout the video, but you guys love to badger me about the pronunciation of words, but that is what I'm going to say. So anyways, that is what we're going to be talking about in today's video, and the blood harvesting that is allegedly going on in Hollywood. However, I will not be diving too deeply into that, just for reasons that I would rather be alive and not have like random people out for me because I'm spreading some weird information on the internet. So we're just gonna be talking about the conspiracy behind all of this. So let's start off with the light basic stuff before we get into the other stuff. So with a simple Google search of the word adrenochrome, you can see that the Google definition or the wiki definition comes up. I will put a clip here of the definition so you guys can follow along with me. But it basically says, or actually it does say, adrenochrome is a chemical compound produced by the oxidation of adrenaline. Adrenochrome was the subject of limited research from the 1950s through to the 1970s as a potential cause of schizophrenia. While it has no current medical application, the related to variant compound carbazochrome is a hemostatic medication, and according to the research that I've done, the compound is red in color when you see it in person. And basically the conspiracy that goes along with this whole entire thing that I'm going to be really brushing the surface on today is that adrenochrome is a psychedelic drug that is extracted from small children when they are scared. Now, this has to be done while the child is alive, and it has to be done when the child is in absolute terror. So much to the point that their adrenal glands are working in overdrive, and then you can extract the blood from the child and use it to get high, and it gives you all of these benefits, and that is what we're going to be kind of talking about today. And again, before we move on into today's video, this is all alleged conspiracy. None of it is fact. I'm not sitting here being like, this is true. This is just something that I found to be interesting, and I thought to be sharing with you guys because some of you guys might be interested in it as well. But it is alleged. It is not real, or it could be real. We don't know. The way that this theory goes is that the wealthiest, most elite people in the entire world extract this drug from small children after terrorizing them and tormenting them, and then they inject it to get I guess like eternal youth, and it really helps with like all of that kind of stuff, and is also extremely addictive. I think that the first time that I ever heard of the drug adrenochrome was when I was in high school, the first time that I ever saw the movie Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I think the line in that movie says something like, you can only get this stuff from the bodies of living human beings, although I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the line is something like that. But yeah, so they abstract this, allegedly, and then they inject it into their eyeballs. Actually, hold on, before we move forward into the video, I want to try and pull up the exact line that I was thinking of in this video. There we go, yeah. So the line is, there's only one source for this stuff, the adrenal glands from a living human body. But obviously the movie Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is not a documentary, it's not fact, it could just be fiction, and Hunter S. Thompson did come out later, I think, saying something along the lines of, you know, he was just making it up. It seemed like it fit with the theme of the movie, the theme of the book, so he was just saying that. And again, this isn't a documentary, it was just a line from a movie. When I personally first heard about adrenochrome, there was a subreddit dedicated just to this that you would go on and scroll through for hours, and it was very interesting. But when I sat down to try and kind of look it up to use for reference for this video, not that Reddit is a great source of anything, but I just thought it was interesting, it seems that the entire subreddit has been completely removed, which seems to be a little bit suspect in itself, but sometimes that happens. Obviously the internet isn't always whatever, and Reddit doesn't like things that aren't true, so who knows. But again, there are certain things that I know about this topic that I'm sure a lot of you do also know about this topic that I don't want to talk about. I don't want anybody to get offended. And I know a lot of people who are watching this video are gonna be like, anybody believes this is just crazy, blah, 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 which is completely fine. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. And again, I'm just making this video for entertainment purposes. So let's continue on. Well, again, the elites and the very rich and affluent people in Hollywood are said to love adrenochrome. And this drug is one that you can only get from children who are absolutely tormented and traumatized and abused to a certain extent, to where the adrenal glands are working in overdrive. And this drug is said to be extracted from the child's pituitary glands, and then it is sold to the elites on the black market, allegedly. It is also said that the people who partake in this are also part of a pedophile ring that is very satanic. So as you can see, this all kind of ties into like the Pizzagate stuff as well. So I'm sure that if you've heard about Pizzagate, you know what I'm trying to get at here. I don't want to dive too deeply into the people who are accused of using this, or actually I don't want to dive into that at all. I'm not going to use the names of anybody in this video. As you can tell, because I keep stressing about this, I'm very nervous to make this video. Again, this is all alleged, but it is said that, you know, they use this drug to get extended youth. It makes your mind more clear. It makes you, it does all of these things to just better your life. You'll be more youthful, you'll look more youthful, you will have better health, you will thrive, and it's just, this is going to make your entire life better if you do this. Does that make sense? And it is extremely addictive, which kind of also throws a little wrench in the mix here, because most psychedelic drugs do not have an addictive part of them at all, like shrooms, acid, things along those lines usually aren't addictive, whereas this is said to be a psychedelic drug that is very addictive. Some of the side effects that go along with using this drug are nausea, vomiting, upset stomach, diarrhea, lack of appetite, skin irritation, rashes all over your skin, dark circles around the eyes, black eyes, unfamiliar like growths, I guess. That would be like, it was considered rashes, but to me it didn't look like rashes. They were like clumps of like bumps. I don't know, I guess that would be a rash, but just things along those lines are what are said to be some of the side effects that go along with using the drug adrenochrome. Another thing that I just want to mention is that I saw in at least 2 articles while researching for this topic today that you can actually get adrenochrome from other mammals. It doesn't have to be a human. And to me, if you could abstract this drug from any other mammal on the planet, why would you be using human children? It just doesn't make sense. Like, we have farms for meat and for milk and for this and for that and for clothing and for everything. So why, if you could get this from animals, why would the elites be getting it from human animals? Why wouldn't they just start like a farm and then like use those animals specifically for that, if this was something that was going on? But if you think about it in history, the belief, I guess, or the theory that ingesting the blood of the youth could give you, you know, eternal life or give you like this or that or make you more youthful has always been around. There are several movies based on this topic. Specifically, one that comes to mind right now while I'm talking to you guys is Hocus Pocus. Now, obviously that movie is not based on any kind of fact, but like, you know what I mean? There are all of these things that suggesting or that are talking about how ingesting the blood of somebody who is quite young could make you more youthful. Another topic that pops into my brain is the case of Elizabeth Bathory. This case was from the 1600s when a princess or a queen, Elizabeth, was put on trial. Her and a couple of her servants were put on trial because they were kidnapping and killing all of these very young girls so that Elizabeth could bathe in their blood, because she believed that it made her more youthful and made her look younger and made her more beautiful. And as far as I know, she was just bathing in the blood. Not that it makes it any better, but she wasn't actually injecting it into her body. But obviously that was thousands of years ago. That was in the 1600s. So if that was the case back then, why would people who were mentally, I don't know, not normal, I guess, not think, you know, of other ways to do this that would maybe make it even more effective, I guess? Does that make sense? I hope that I'm coming across making sense to you guys, because in my brain that made sense. But yeah, it's just like, this is something that has been brought up in history a bazillion times, in movies, in so many different places, so it isn't that outlandish that people do believe this. There is actually a company called Ambrosia LLC, and this company basically does blood transfusions, and these blood transfusions are between young people, specifically teenagers, I think, to older people. And this company claims that these blood transfusions can not only make you look more youthful, but they will make you live longer than your life expectancy. The man who started this company claims to be a doctor. However, none of his credentials can be found online, and allegedly they are not public at all, which seems very weird, especially if he's running a medical type business. But on top of all of that, he did an interview and basically said that yes, this does make you more youthful and make you feel more youthful and exceed your life expectancy. But he also said that the blood transfusions that he was giving at Ambrosia LLC, the company that he owns, was next to or basically immortality, and that's what he was selling to his clients. That was basically what he was promising to them. And this company had 5 clinics, all based in America. So this wasn't like one place, this was 5, and they did have clients, enough clients to stay in business. The company stayed in business for a couple of years, I believe, and then the FDA came out making a statement saying that there was no proof that these blood transfusions worked and that these blood transfusions were not FDA approved. This caused Ambrosia to close down, but it then reopened its doors several months later. So I do believe that this is an up and running company right now. And basically the way that this company was making money was that they would get blood from teenagers. I don't know if it was donated or how they would abstract it, but they would get blood from teenagers and young people, and they would charge people who would come into the clinic $8,000 for 1 liter of this young blood, or $12,000 for 2 liters of this blood. But again, the FDA came out and said this was not FDA approved. They did not believe in this, and they thought that this was a very, very dangerous procedure, because obviously you can get all kinds of diseases and whatnot from sharing blood with people, which caused them to close their doors, but they then reopened. So I don't really have too much to say about this company at all. I obviously don't know enough about them to talk about them that in depth. I just know the stuff that I'm telling to you guys, but I did think that it was worth a mention because I do think that it's pretty cool, or interesting, cool is not the right word, that you can medically get a blood transfusion that's whole intention is supposed to make you more youthful, and you know, all of the stuff that they're saying that this does for you. There was also a study that came out allegedly. I couldn't find the study myself, but while researching for this, I came across this thing that said there was allegedly a study that came out that they did on rats, where the blood from a younger rat was injected into an older rat, and it did add several years onto the older rat's life, while the younger rat ended up passing away before the older one, which was believed to have been from the blood transfusion. There are also several articles that you can find online just by simply typing the word adrenochrome into Google, Or there are also videos that you can find online of people talking about this just by simply typing adrenochrome into YouTube. And in these videos and these write-ups made by actual people, they're talking about how they believe that younger members of their family were kidnapped or taken by other members of their family and sold into the occult or some kind of weird satanic cult, and that they were harvesting these children for adrenochrome, and then they were made to look crazy. And there's all sorts of things like that going around the internet, and a lot of the stories are very, very similar. Now obviously the internet is a weird place. Other people can fuel other people's stories and it can all be made up, but I just thought that was something interesting. But again, this is all alleged. This isn't me saying I believe any of this. This is just me sharing what I found online with you. Many of the people who are publicly accused of using adrenochrome and being a part of this are famous celebrities. A lot of them are very famous politicians, and because of that, a lot of these people are based in Hollywood. And it is said that the elite and Hollywood celebrities and things like that really like to, I was gonna say hide things in plain sight, but I don't think that's the word that I'm looking for. They like to shove stuff in your face to be like, yes, we're doing this and there's nothing you can do about it, allegedly. And in this scenario, that kind of also comes up a lot, because there are a lot of celebrities who have done interviews where it almost seems like they're hinting at this, which is very odd, which is a very weird thing to hint at. I can't see as a normal person how that would even be something that would cross your mind, but also with a lot of these people being based in Hollywood, another thing that came up a lot while I was researching this is that I guess like the viewing point for the Hollywood sign in Hollywood is marked with a blob that looks very similar to a blood drop. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen that on TikTok and on the internet and everywhere. And that is another point where people are like, they're shoving this in our faces. But again, this is all alleged. Now again, like I've mentioned several times throughout today's video, I do not want to mention anybody by name in this video just for my own peace of mind. But one of the interviews that I wanted to mention, because it sticks out in my brain when talking about this topic, among with several other, but this one in particular just really stuck out with for me, is when a certain celebrity was on a very famous talk show, and they're talking about this facial that this celebrity gets, and they take other celebrities to get this facial and they swear by it and they get it all the time and they love it and it's great and it does amazing things for their skin and blah 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 blah. And then they start talking about what is done during this facial, and they just point blank bluntly say that during this facial, this celebrity is getting their face injected with the foreskin of a baby. I just needed to let that sit in for a minute, because what the flying, what the heck? Another thing that they do with a lot of these things is hide them in children's TV shows and movies, and obviously Disney is so bad for this. I hate to say it because I loved Disney growing up. I still watch a lot of the Disney movies, but they are so bad for this. And if you've ever seen the movie Monsters Inc., it is quite literally about adrenochrome and abstracting, you know, like it's about feeding off of fear. The more the kid is scared, the higher the monsters move up on the level, like in that little company. Like the whole movie is about scaring kids and how it's going to make that monster better. The entire thing is just so mind-boggling. I actually highly recommend you guys go look into the similarities between the Adrenochrome Conspiracy theory and the movie Monsters Inc., because they are absolutely mind-boggling. That's because I'm not used to filming anymore and I'm just painfully uncomfortable sitting in front of the camera right now. This video took way longer to film than it should have. I'm sure it's not going to be as long as I'm thinking that it's going to be, because it took me so long to film this and it's seeming pretty short to you guys. But because of that, I'm going to cut this video off here. However, this is a topic that I may or may not revisit in the future, depending on the feedback from you guys and everything like that. But guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to comment down below what you'd like to see in my future videos, and don't forget to subscribe and turn that notification bell so that you don't miss any future videos from me. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, which hopefully is sooner than later. Bye guys.